In 2019, a businessman in India named Raphael Samuel filed a lawsuit against his own parents because they forced him into this world without his consent. Samuel concedes that his is a good life and he is actually close to his parents, but his main objection is that he believes it is wrong to bring new people into the world without their consent. Having kids is a big part of societal expectations and norms, but the decision to not have any is becoming more and more common. Some people simply don't want to become parents, while others are concerned about the environmental or financial implications. Samuel, on the other hand, subscribes to a philosophy called anti-natalism, which argues that life, even in the best of circumstances, is a harm and an imposition rather than a gift or a miracle. According to this logic, having a child is morally wrong. The root of this philosophy can be dated back to the ancient Greeks. According to the Greek tragedian Sophocles, never to have been born is best, but if we must see the light, the next best is quickly returning whence we came. The Bible also mentions this concept in the book of Ecclesiastes, and I declare that the dead who had already died are happier than the living who are still alive. But better than both is the one who has never been born, who has not seen the evil that is done under the sun. The anti-natalist movement, while not new, has gained traction in recent years with the philosopher David Benatar. Benatar, author of Better Never to Have Been, believes that life is pain and that human beings should stop having children in the name of compassion. He states that, while good people go to great lengths to spare their children from suffering, few of them seem to notice that the one and only guaranteed way to prevent all the suffering is not to bring those children into existence in the first place. In Benatar's view, reproducing is morally wrong. When confronted with such pessimistic views, one might ask the question, if life is so bad, why not just choose death instead of expecting everyone to stop having children? Many people suggest that the best experiences in life make up for the bad ones, that life is worth living. Here Benatar insists on distinguishing our ideas on a life worth beginning from a life worth continuing. Benatar is not asking the question, are you glad to be alive? Because most people are happy to be here, hopefully. The point is that not being born at all is better than having a life, however happy and fulfilling it might be, because of what he calls the asymmetry between pain and pleasure. According to Benatar, the absence of pain is good, but the absence of pleasure is only bad if there is someone who exists who is missing out. In other words, the presence of pain is bad and the presence of pleasure is good. The absence of pain is good even if that good is not enjoyed by anyone. But the absence of pleasure is not bad unless there is somebody for whom this absence is a deprivation. So, if humans were to exist, the presence of pain and the presence of pleasure would cancel each other out. But if humans were to never exist, there would be no pain, which is good. There would also be an absence of pleasure, but this isn't bad, it's just neutral. That's because, from the point of view of non-existence, avoiding suffering is what matters. Because of the asymmetry of pain and pleasure, it will be better for the potential people to never be born. Even if they live an amazing life with only 1 second of pain, it's still better for them to avoid the suffering. And since they wouldn't exist, they wouldn't care about missing out on the pleasure. So we can conclude that a life is never worth beginning. But for those that are already here, life is most likely worth continuing, as death in itself is painful, and the pleasure can outweigh the pain, or at least make it bearable. In an interview with The New Yorker, Benatar was asked why the proper response to his arguments wasn't to strive to make the world a better place. His response was that the possible creation of a better world in the future doesn't justify the suffering of people in the present. At any rate, a dramatically improved world is impossible. It'll never happen, he said. The lessons never seem to get learned. Maybe the odd individual will learn them, but you still see this madness around you. Ultimately, unpleasantness and suffering are too deeply written into the structure of sentient life to be eliminated. We are asked to accept what is unacceptable. It's unacceptable that people and other beings have to go through what they go through, and there's almost nothing that they can do about it.